Good. How are you guys?
We're doing fantastic. I don't know if you heard the little robot say this being.
Yeah, I heard. I've been hearing that little robot lady all day.
Okay, well, yeah, she's still here. She's still
Did
here.
you know there's a recording in progress?
I'm like,
So before we start, I'm Joe and this is Travis, but we don't know what to call you because you have so many names. What do you want us to call you? Do you want us to call you Kira? You want us to call you Taya? Do you want us to call you Franky?
Or you can introduce me as Franky Monet, formerly known as Taya Valkyrie, which is just the easiest way.
Okay, all right, great. And Travis knows a lot about your wrestling stuff. He's a wrestling pro, but I'm just going to ask a little bit about the movie first to talk about.
Okay, perfect.
So I watched Unchained, and I wanted to know, were you involved at all with the physical scenes and like explaining to the people how certain things would go physically because of what you were used to on the inside of the ring?
No, I actually was not involved in any of the stunt choreo or putting together the fight scenes as a stunt coordinator, any of that. So it was a very tight schedule. So I didn't have a ton of time for everything that was going on. But I think that the women that were involved in that were amazing. And there were so many of the actresses who'd never really done anything like this before. And to see them, really give it their all was just really great to see, and to have like a very powerful woman as a lead, and it's just a very interesting, cool dynamic of a movie. And of course I play Regina, the bad girl, the mean one, and I just can't wait for everybody to finally see this movie. We filmed it in the fall of 2019 and it was supposed to come out last year, but with COVID and everything, we've all been waiting, and it's finally coming here July 2nd on Amazon Prime.
And it's your first time working with director Raffaello, right?
Yes, it was my first time. He approached me and sent me the script. And obviously Regina was very different from anybody that I had played before, or even my wrestling characters at all. Like such a stripped down, badass, like kind of tomboy character. Super different than Taya Valkyrie or Franky Monet. To say the least. So I was just excited to try something new. Where as an artist, as a pro wrestler, as an actress, like you always want to be kind of evolving and changing and trying different things. And this was just a really great opportunity. So when he asked me to do it, I was like, absolutely.
And when you act a lot of your scenes, because like you said, you're the bad girl or the mean girl, you act opposite the
Mayor
warden. Well, Mayor also, but I was gonna say the warden, Larry, who
Larry Andrews.
Larry, right before this, he was talking about he's a huge wrestling fan. So was he geeking out around you the entire time? He had told me that like you are really good at getting one-shot takes because of your being characters in the ring. Like that's something that you're doing like stage performance.
Oh, thank you, Larry.
Yeah, he was gassing you up. So,
yeah, I'm like, well, if he was geeking out, he covered it up really well because he didn't say anything or act weird.
Yeah,
no, he was super great to work with, very easy to work with. And Raffaello as a director, it was just like giving us so much trust to like bring these characters to life, and even being like, what if she said it like this? And I would come to him with ideas, just the same way that I would come to our writers and our producers in WWE or wherever with ideas for things. And he was always just so trusting in my ideas and how I would present them and on how I would execute them. And so I think that this movie is great because it just shows so much passion. Raffaello the director had his fingers in everything. He's so involved in every aspect of this film, and all the actors were really trying their best on this short schedule, the tight schedule that we had. And I think it just shows that we all just really wanted to make something cool and fun for everyone to watch.
And I think that Larry put it well. He said Raffaello is kind of like the chef, and you guys are all like sous chefs, and he gives you like what he wants, but he lets you do it yourself. And I think a really good the way you portrayed the physically dominant, like Regina. It's not just the way that you spoke as her, but you were a presence, like physically. Is that something you feel like you were able to perfect more because of your constant persona and people are always looking at you when you're doing wrestling and
my constant peacocking as a wrestler? I just feel like when I read the script, I kind of just looked back and would talk it over with John and things, and we would just like trying to look up some references for characters that kind of reminded me of her, and how I would dress or how I would look or how I would stand and things like that. But I just, in my head, she was just such this like and powerful, intimidating presence. So that's like probably why, I was like postured up and, looked very physical and everything like that. I don't know if that's just from wrestling. I don't know. That's just how I interpreted her to be, she wasn't
just generally a badass. Like, do you just have wrestling?
I mean, I'm just like a badass every day. Let's be real here. No, it was just really fun to just be a heel. Let's be real here. She's Regina's a heel as well, and I've been a heel most of my career in wrestling, but just a totally different type of heel than I'd ever been before.
So before we focus on wrestling, I know you mentioned you mentioned Mare, and she's amazing. I'm talking to her tomorrow. I know she did the music for the credits. Before I not to give you any spoilers, did you see the film? Because Larry had not seen it yet. No, okay. I will be careful with what I say. So
I know what happens.
Well, when Larry got his script, he only got the parts for his character. Raffaello didn't want him to know about like the rest of the movie and what was going on. So his script was just like the warden and his Georgia Peach scenes and things like that. So I wasn't sure if you were familiar with the whole thing.
I'm familiar with the whole film. I have not seen it. But I'm excited that I'm actually kind of almost more excited that I get to see it with everybody else. Like that it's going to come out. Everyone's going to see it at the same time. And I'm going to, have a viewing party at my apartment.
Nice.
Bring over all the NXT crew to watch me do this movie.
So, you're talking about your NXT crew. I'm going to let Travis take over. He's got so many questions wrestling wise, and I'm going to shut my mouth for a minute so that he's got some for you.
I just wanted to say, Joe, you're very welcome for me teaching you what the word heel was in advance of this. So you didn't even need translation. That was beautiful.
He did.
And Franky, I want to say many times, I feel like. Franky, I want to say congratulations on your debut in NXT. I'm sure you've probably been on a roller coaster of emotions, and it's probably been really cool for you so far. Put it in your own words. How's it been?
It was very overwhelming. I mean, the whole experience has been very overwhelming. When you want something and have this dream, and I know this is going to sound so corny, but like when you have a dream and you've been thinking about it for so long, and thinking about it, and there's even moments when you're like, I don't think even this fall, I was like, I don't know if this is going to happen. Like, I just was like, I had to kind of bet on all the money on me, to make this happen, and just be a free agent for a few months and having a heart attack just thinking about it, I just bet on myself, and it was so overwhelming when it just came true. It's a long process, and when the wheels started turning and I was like, oh my God, this is happening, and it was the first day at the PC, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why? Do I work here now? It was such a crazy feeling, and it was very emotional, and like many days of like happy tears and just like, oh my God, like and it's such a wonderful, positive place to work. And I have just so much positive, things to say about everybody from Triple H to Shawn Michaels to Sarah Amato to Road Dogg to Scott Anderson, like everybody, like everyone is so freaking cool and nice and like wants you to succeed.
That's awesome.
And it's great. And like my debut was exactly what it had to be. Of course I had to outdo any robe I'd ever done before in my entire life.
Of course.
Naturally. Oh, and there's a doggy. Oh, there it is.
That's Chewy. He's on the podcast logo, so he pops up.
And now, speaking of dogs, like I have Presley with me every day.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, once again, congratulations. I wanted to reference back when we were talking about the film. You would reference doing some character study in preparation for it, and kind of like looking for references in characters. What are some of the characters you were looking into to draw to for your character for the film? And then also, you said your character's a heel. What heel in like wrestling history would you best compare them to? Because now I'm kind of curious. I got to know. Like,
Such a complicated question.
I know.
That's my wrestling man. I asked the easy one, and then I just kind of eased you in so that he can get the steak.
All right.
And why would you
Well,
say?
I feel
And
like
why would
for
you say
all, like,
Medusa?
yeah, for all like the movie kind of references, there was a lot of like, you know, and someone's gonna absolutely kill me for not knowing her name. Like, for example, the female lead in like the Terminator movies, and like how she was just very like, you know, like white tank top and jeans and just very like direct and da da da. Even though she was a baby face, a good guy, but just taking kind of like styling kind of ideas from these kind of people, or like a G.I. Jane, Demi Moore, or like kind of, you know, but making her bad. Those kinds of characters is what I was looking at. And for wrestling, I don't know. Like I'm trying to think, but I don't know. I don't know who.
See, I immediately said, and why Medusa? But that's just where my brain immediately goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that, because I was so just like in movie mode when I made that it was just very much like movie brain. Like,
and I was going to ask, like, as a performer, obviously, you know, switching over from wrestler mode to actor mode, how does that process feel? Is it pretty quick? Is it?
Well, when I filmed this movie, I was filming for Impact, and then I landed in LA and went straight to set. And then I was on set like all day, and then we filmed for that whole week. So it was a lot. Like, it was just like one thing to the next, and like, let's go. And you have to just constantly be on the ball. And it is very different. You know, you have in wrestling we have one take. 99% of the time you have one take. The only place where that didn't happen was something like Lucha Underground, where our backstage scenes I really created like a film or a TV show. They were filmed that way, so they're very cinematic. But other than that, like if you look at everything, it's done live, or you have like one take or two, and that's it. You know, for something that might have been filmed ahead of time, it's all very fast. And so with a film, it just swoop, boop, 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 like slows down. And I had to almost just be like, okay, because I was like, okay, what's next? Like, just because that's what I'm used to. I'm just used to that, right? Like, okay, like we finish this, let's go. And they're like, no, we're gonna do it again like this. And I'm like, oh, so I really had to, like, you know, the hyper little child in me was being told to calm down. But
whereas in the ring, you're allowed to go wild.
Exactly. So it was definitely a learning process for me, but it was really fun. And also just to be able to do something over and over again, and then you get to do it, say your lines in a different style or a different way, or have different body language, and until you find that sweet spot, that's exactly how it should be for, you know, that comes out in the film.
That's awesome.
So Travis, did you have one more question?
One other thing.
Go right ahead.
Oh man, I had two, but man, let me stick with one. Looking at the list of your career accolades, it's insane. It's literally, it's you should definitely be proud. I wanted to ask about one specifically though, the DBT Ironman Heavy Metalweight Championship. I hope I said that right. Tell me about the experience with that. I have to know.
Well, that was we were doing different skits around the Lucha Underground temple to win that from each other. So it was definitely fun, because everyone was just kind of like, well, and we were just filming these little skits throughout the day. Lucha Underground as a whole was just like so much fun. Like everyone was just having fun the whole time. And there was just, you know, like I was living in Mexico City at the time, so it was like I was coming to LA for the weekend to film this stuff and leave and come back, and it was just a very like a whirlwind of an experience. And so we would always just find really stupid things to do backstage, like whenever we had downtime, because we just all really liked hanging out with one another, and that was one of them. So
fantastic. So and obviously something I'm sure you're pretty proud to have on your resume as well, right?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's one more thing.
Fantastic. So Thank you. Thank you once again for taking time, and congratulations once again on
Thank you.
the huge NXT debut and your continued success.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anything you want to mention about Unchained or plug any of your social media or any other upcoming projects or wrestling?
Well, I would just like, everybody to watch Unchained July 2nd. I will also be watching it on July 2nd. So if you want to be tweeting me or sending me Instagram messages, let me know what you think. I would absolutely love that. I am on Twitter and on Instagram at Franky with a Y, Monet, WWE. And so you can get in contact with me there. So yeah, just check it out. And if you can, please, I'll watch NXT every Tuesday at 8/7 Central on USA Network. Next week, Franky Monet, me, will be having the encore performance of my grand world premiere. So be sure to tune in.